All right, here we go. Today is Friday, December 27th. We have Christmas behind us. We're heading towards the new year. And we're going to go ahead and start this morning with a passage from the book of Daniel. It's kind of a weird one. It's a whole weird chapter here. And it runs into verse 32, and he says this in the ESV. It says, "He shall seduce with flattery those who violate the covenant." But they pick up on the last part of this verse where it says, "But the people who know their God shall stand firm and take action." And so from what I take from this is that knowing God gives us a sense of strength. You see, Daniel, another version says, "The people who know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits." And even the King James Version says it this way, "But the people that do know their God," I love that, "the people that do know their God shall be strong and do exploits." So it's saying those who do exploits, or those who do daring acts for the kingdom, are those who walked intimately with the King of Kings. And so, according to Daniel, there's a great source of energy and strength wrapped up in knowing God. Daniel wrote these words when he was in Babylon. He was a youth who had been seized from Jerusalem. He'd been kidnapped, ripped away from his own family and his own covenant religion that he had grown up with. And now here he was, a slave in Babylon to King Nebuchadnezzar as he writes these. And if you remember back in the first chapter of Daniel, we read how Daniel and his friends were commanded to eat of the food and drink of the wine that came from the king's table. Well, Daniel eventually essentially said to them, let me give that some thought, basically, at first, because he realized that the king's dining room may have prepared foods that violated the Jewish dietary law, and maybe the wines were something that had been sacrificed to idols. So he finally went back and he told the king's steward, he said, "You know what? I think I'll decline." Well, back then, nobody declined King Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar was a ruthless and a wicked king who killed who he chose or spared whom he chose. But yet the Bible tells us Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion from the king's delicacies, nor with the wine from which he drank. Therefore he requested of the chief of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. And what we kind of have to remember here is Daniel may have only been like 17 years old here at this point in time, but he was much more worried about the relationship with the God that he knew than he was worried about defying the king of the land. And so he did exactly what it says here in chapter 11. He was able to stand firm, to be strong, and to carry out great exploits or daring acts. How was he able to do that? Because he knew his God. You see, we're made to know God. We're not made to know about God, but we're also made to know him personally, to know him as our Father and a friend, yes, but also to know him as creator and sustainer, ruler of this world and of kingdoms. You see, when we don't know God, we really don't know anything, really, much of anything. So our lives are incomplete. Just like the sky is incomplete without the sun. That's the way it is when we don't know God. Our souls are strengthened. Our lives are strengthened in him alone. So the most important things in life are not what we do. It's not who we know. It's not where we go. It's not how high we rise or how long we live. It's not how influential we may become. But the most important thing in this life is to know him and to know him fully. You see, nothing compares with getting to know the God who knows us. You see, and the cool thing, what I love about this God that knows us, he seeks to be known. He reveals himself to us through nature and through scripture. Our finite minds, sure, we can never comprehend all there is to know about God, but yet our souls will find strength in him. I believe that's what this passage is teaching us. So when everything around us fails, he will never falter, when our foundations tremble, He has changed us. He is immovable. He is the God of heaven and earth. When our hearts are overwhelmed, He is the rock that is higher than we are. So the psalmist put it this way. He says this in Psalms 27. One thing I have desired of the Lord, that I will seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in His temple. You see, in other words, the psalmist said, he says, knowing God is his ultimate priority. He used the words one thing, this one thing. His ultimate priority is knowing God. He wanted to behold the Lord. He wanted to grow in the knowledge of God and learn more about Him. How long? All the days of his life. May that be said of us. Have a great day.